Assalamualaikum Anati.
Oh, Waalaikumsalam Shazwina.
You watch a new Netflix movie called Pandora.
I have watched the movie.
It is a South Korean disaster film written and directed by Park Jong-woo, starring by Kim Nam-gil, and the film was released in South Korea. The story is about Jae-hyuk that lived with his mother, his sister-in-law, and his nephew Min-jae in a small Korean town. He is dating Yeonju while working at a local nuclear power plant. Meanwhile, Pyong-sok works at the same nuclear power plant. He is worried about the conditions there, but nobody in the government listens to him. An earthquake strikes the small town where Jae-hyuk lives and causes explosion at the nuclear power plant. The situation is quickly spirals out of control, leading the entire nation to panic. To prevent another nuclear disaster, Jae-hyuk and his co-workers return to the nuclear power plant because no one other than its workers can stop from spreading further. For the first good communication in this movie is in the scene. It shows that Jae-hyuk and his team are willing to contribute to repair the leaking plantation because they know that it is their job. Even though they were the victim of the earthquake, but they still wanted to save the millions of lives. They are willing to pledge their life to save millions of lives, even though they know that they will not live long because they have been exposed to radiation. So the analysis from this description is the true heroes of this movie are these small people who are willing to give themselves up for the people they loved, who must go living forward, and also even to those who had belittled them and who had hurt them. The effect, Jae-hyuk were the one have to set off a bomb because he is the one that can handle the bomb in order to create another radiation tank, and finally he managed to save millions of lives. For the recommendation, the government needs to act faster so as not to increase the number of lives lost. Besides that, the government also should not neglect and listen to every report that has been voiced. Okay, for the next positive communication in this movie is there is the scene where nurse Mi-suk was looking for medicine to the victims that are exposed to radiation. One of her colleagues asked her to run away because she might die if she stay with them. But what she did was she stayed with the victims until the end. She was the only hospital staff that stay with her patients. The analysis, she is very committed to her responsibility as a nurse. She dared to withstand with any possible situation. The effect, although she was not able to contribute many services, but some extent she was able to provide medical supplies even though they have no hope of being saved. As for the recommendation, as a medical resident, you are supposed to save lives and not yourself. Hospital workers are responsible to treat the disease, psychological disorder, and injuries of patients in settings like hospital or clinics.
In my opinion, what I found in this movie, the bad communication is that the resident worker take easy about the earthquake situation when he said once the crack was found, everything will be back to normal, considering as it had happened 40 years ago since Unit 1 built the pipe get blocked and cracked to rust. The situation will cause an earthquake, and Pyong-sok said they need to inform the cook why and inform the local, but the resident worker said to notify head office first, ignoring the Yeong-sok order. And second is the Prime Minister not allow President evacuate the surrounding people where the nuclear plant was located. 945,000 people within 20 km from the plant. Evacuation is impossible. So this is because it will get worse once the nuclear exposed that affect 50 million people in nation. And this shows that Prime Minister not trusting his leader, which is the President, assume that he is too young to handle the situation, and the elders know better about leadership. After the argument, the government decided to release the radiation and evacuated the people, but not guarantee it was a safe place to protect them from radiation. And lastly, the bad communication we can see is the rescue team don't want to take risks to save the people that stuck on the nuclear plantation because the radiation of level it was too high that they cannot go inside anymore. Byung-suk said to them that they need to pour water as much as possible to drop the level in order to save everyone. In conclusion of Pandora movie, we can conclude that they provide important insight into effective communication and professionalism at work. When interacting in critical situations, you must remember to put yourself in their shoes. Try to understand their perspective. It is not necessary to agree with the other point of view to understand or empathize with it. Use appropriate verbal and non-verbal language as well as to stay calm and focus in our communication. With that, it will create a good teamwork and this will be beneficial to be applied in future and also in daily life.